C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the safety who was with Philadelphia before, is going back to Philadelphia on a 3-year deal. And that is a situation where he now will help that defense moving forward. Big pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles as they continue to upgrade their roster. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was a fan favorite there. And I'm sure the Eagles and Vic Fangio, their new defensive coordinator, are happy to have him back.
Good reminder, Vic Fangio there now. The Eagles were one of the most active teams during the negotiating period. In addition to bringing back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Philly also agreed to a 3-year deal with Saquon Barkley and added pass rusher Bryce Huff. However, the Eagles did lose a pair of cornerstone players following the retirements of Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox. Let's start with the return of Gardner-Johnson. You like that move for Philly, RC?
Fired up about this. I'm a big C.J. Gardner-Johnson fan. One, because he gets people to punch him in his face during football games with their hands on his face mask. How much trash do you have to talk to upset somebody that much? But when you think about what he was for this team 2 years ago, 6 interceptions, huge hits in the run game, great in the open field. They needed that last year. They tried to give it with Kevin Byard. They couldn't get it. Howie Roseman has now made right what once went wrong. They need to be stronger down the middle of this defense. I felt like they were attacked in between the numbers the entire year, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a start to that. These young D tackles need to play better, and they need consistent healthiness from their linebacker core, but also better play, because it doesn't matter who you have on offense. You can have the freaking monsters. If you can't stop anybody the way this team played defense last year under Sean Desai and Matt Patricia, it doesn't matter if you have Vic Fangio or who's calling the offense. They're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I love the move, too. He's an attitude guy. He's a tone setter guy. And you're right. I mean, look, Ryan was one of those dudes when he played in Washington, when he played in Pittsburgh. The guys who really kind of strike some fear, although they've legislated a lot of the fear out of the game between the numbers. Look, CJ will still bring that. You know, another guy who you got to keep an eye on, Zach Bond, who they signed, you know, as an unrestricted free agent to play one of the stack linebacker positions again. Yeah. That core of the defense type of guy. Zach's an inside-outside guy in the 34 scheme. He can play off the ball. He can get up on the line of scrimmage and rush. He did it at Wisconsin, and he was pretty darn good. And don't forget Bryce Huff, too. Bryce Huff is just huge. He's a perfect 3-4 OLB. That's what he is. You can see why maybe, you know, you start to wonder, does Josh Sweat fit this defense from a 3-4 structure? Obviously, when they go 4 down, he can just play defensive end. But look, they're trying to do work on that side of the ball, too. Offensively, they're going to be fine. Although, like I said before, Kellen Moore, look, man, you have a lot to work with on the offensive side. But on defense, Vic Fangio is where he wanted to be. Yep. And they're getting him some pieces to work with.
Anything we need to know, Adam?
Not right now.
Okay, false alarm. We'll see if there's anything.
I might just go over there and call too.
Smile. I just had to ask because we saw you get up.
Yeah, no, well,
Dan.
We'll see.
Okay, fingers crossed. Offensively, the headline was adding Saquon, obviously, but how do you expect his run style to mesh specifically with what the Eagles want to do, and, of course, Jalen Hurts as a quarterback?
It will be tremendous if he takes the easy stuff. We talk about that phrase when it comes to quarterbacking so much in the NFL. Is like, hey, don't try to be the hero ball, or don't try to do it all yourself, take the easy throw. And I think Saquon will have to adjust just a little bit to that when it comes to some of his runs. Part of that is because when he was in New York, there was never anywhere for him to run. Right. So he was trying to hit home runs consistently, and sometimes that would mess with his vision just a little bit. And you're not always going to have that home run hit, and I think he forced it a little bit. And I think if Saquon could just dial it back, knowing that this offense and this offensive line will provide him for that, you know, get after those 3- and 4-yard runs instead of trying to force stuff, this will be a huge signing for the Eagles.
I want you guys to think back to Brian Daboll's first year with the New York Giants and how the threat of the quarterback run sort of gave Saquon Barkley some opportunities in open space. We know that he is looking for that home run, but with the understanding of watching Miles Sanders excel in this offense 2 years ago, DeAndre Swift, some of those guys who have a similar run style to Saquon Barkley, he'll start to understand that if he hits things downhill, if he gives you one cut, you'll get 4, you'll get 6, you'll get 8. and eventually you could pop the long run with the threat of the RPO. And so I love what Saquon Barkley adds to this offense, but it's truly going to be on Kellen Moore. Can he put himself in a space to allow Jalen Hurts to have the opportunities to make the right decisions for this offense to get the ball in the hands of his playmakers?
He's going to be like a guy going from eating a Lunchable to like a full buffet because the offensive line is going to be so much better. I like Lunchables.
Have you tried a Lunchable as an adult?
I actually do love Lunchables. I just ate one in the airport.
They are not the same.
I don't know.
When
I think they're still pretty good.
When I was young and I ate Lunchables, I was like, man, this is what the rich people eat. Now that I have a little money, it is not what the rich people eat, y'all. It is not the same.
Depends on the Lunchable. Barkley goes from a Giants offensive line that ranked 31st in run block win rate. Thank you, Lewis, last season. And Eagles offensive line
Shout out
that led the NFL in that category.
What are they?